you know, in some shape or form, YouTube, his Bumble King site, Facebook, whatever, commentary via the characters in the backup story of 242 or whatever it was. He couldn't just explain to us in some shape or form that there were some changes occurring and that certain characters are going to be taken out, or he can't continue the arc the way he wanted to, so now he's just going to give us the next 4 issues as filler. He couldn't find a way to do that in some way, because honestly there would be a lot of people that would be very understanding about that, whether you believe it or not. There would be some people that would be very, very understanding about it. So I think, in a sense, when it comes down to it, that's what really bugs us about the Mecha Sally arc, looking back on it 5 years later, is that it started out as having potential, and then when it got to a certain point of it, whether it's the splitting of the teams, in my opinion, that didn't help, or in my opinion didn't help, the splitting of the teams, if it wasn't, that part of the arc that, it started to go downhill. If it wasn't, the sudden, what can I throw at the wall to see if it sticks so it can make this more interesting, more intriguing, with like the adding of the Krazood, and all that. And what else did I mention? The Krazood, the adding Silver's Traitor Story arc into it to try to make it more intriguing and interesting. It's like, if it wasn't those things that helped drag it down, or even the splitting of the teams that dragged it down, what really, when you think about it now, really didn't help it and dragged it down to the depths to where it probably couldn't be recovered and salvaged the way Ian Flynn wanted, was all these last-minute executive decisions. Not just the behind-the-scenes issues with Ken Penders and Archie Comics, which basically caused the last-minute editorial removal of characters like Julie Sue, Hershey, Jeffrey, Linda, the Echidnas, whatever you want to call it. If it wasn't just that, it was these last-minute editorial notes and changes of things to come. Like I said, 242 being the Olympic tie-in issue to the Olympic crossover game, as well as the Olympics of 2012. Oh, by the way, the issue that was dedicated to them comes out after the Olympics are done, after the game comes out, so what's the point? And then you do the same with Sonic Universe, which is supposed to tie into the whole Mecha Sally arc at the time, and dedicate that to Sonic Racing, All-Stars Racing Transformed. It's like, what's the point? It's like, why? Why do it? Why do it in the first place? Why continue it? I should actually say, why continue it if all this is coming down? And then on top of that, you have the crossover being announced, and them wanting certain issues to be part of the crossover for the summer. It's like, why? It's like, why couldn't you come up with some kind of way to explain that things are going to change, things are going to end, things are going to change, characters are going to be gone because of certain situations, behind the scenes issues, the story arc is going to end a lot sooner than usual. Why couldn't you find a way to explain? Why couldn't you find a way to do things, to come up with something to make, my thing is, and I'm sure a lot of fans would agree with this, is why couldn't he come up with a solution that would at least make us understand that things are going to change in such a way that either the story arcs, that either one, it's going to cause the story arc to end sooner, two, cause the story arc to be discontinued, and thus be nothing more than maybe a dream, which would have been easier. Take a page out of an earlier Sonic issue where Sonic's having a dream, and basically make the whole Mecha Sally thing nothing more than a dream, and then go from there. Or at least explain in some shape or form, either via characters in a backup story of 242, or on your forum, on your website, your message boards, your YouTube page, your Facebook page, explain to everybody that the Mecha Sally arc either can't continue the way it is, or is going to continue, but it's going to end a lot sooner than usual. With the by the way, certain characters are going to be gone because of behind the scenes issues and last minute editorial notes. That, when you think about it, is what makes us look back on this arc even 5 years later with such disdain and everything. It's not because it had promise at the beginning. It's because when it got to a certain point, that's when it started to go downhill. All because of maybe the decision to split up certain teams, either the decision to have characters act out of character, OOC, or basically because of the freaking behind the scenes issues, which, oh, by the way, if you knew about them in some shape or form, you should at least inform the fans about it in some shape or form. Let us know what was going to happen, what changes were coming because of it. But no, that didn't happen, and that's why a lot of fans that either liked it, like the Mecha Sally arc, or they didn't like it, or they were mixed about it. That's why a lot of them now, 5 years later, look back on it with such disdain, because of the promise of it, that it had, and the potential that it had, and then was wasted. That's why a lot of fans look back on it with such disdain. Either they liked it or they didn't. And I don't speak for everybody, okay? So I'm just hypothetically, in my opinion, hypothetically saying that they're theorizing from a hypothetical standpoint, theorized standpoint. In my opinion, there are those that liked and didn't like it and were mixed about it, that look back on it now and have disdain for the potential that it had and that was wasted. That's just in my opinion. As far as someone asking me, well, why do I think Sonic and Sally would be back together again in the comic? And I do want to thank the people that mentioned me on a message board about it. The reason I still believe Sonic and Sally would be back together is because even though Ian Flynn said he would never put them together again and kind of wants to step away from the romantic portion of the book, I truly believe it's going to happen, and I believe it's going to either happen at someone else's hands. It's either going to be Ilya Baker, Ian's wife, it's going to be Evan Stanley, Tracy Yardlin, or somebody new that just came on board that's going to make it happen. But I truly believe they're going to make it happen in a way that makes the relationship very tolerable. In other words, very reminiscent of Sonic SatAm's portrayal of the relationship, to where they're together, but it's not smack dab in your face. It's not to a point that people feel Sally's nothing more than a Mary Sue, which she's not. That it's basically a relationship that is tolerable, that exists, and but it's not in your face, and that even though they're together as a boyfriend and girlfriend, that they are basically now that they're basically, looked at more as teammates, even though, behind the scenes of boyfriend, girlfriend. That's how I think it's going to be portrayed, depending on who picks it up, decides to do it. And the reason I also believe it's going to happen is because if word goes around that Sega now, 5 years later, has decided to loosen the grip on the book and let the book kind of be its own thing, then I think that's going to be beneficial to the possibility. Especially if there is a rumor going around that Sally, Bunny, Rotor, and all them could possibly show up, cameo, be playable, whatever, in the Project Sonic 2017 game that's supposed to come out at the end of this year. And so, to me, I look at it this way. I believe Sonic and Sally will get together again. It's just a matter of time, and it's just a matter of who takes on the reins and the responsibility of making that happen. But I believe whoever it is, whether it's Ian's wife, Aaliyah, whether it's Tracy, whether it's Evan, or whoever else, they're going to do it in a respectable way that's going to make that relationship tolerable, to the point that maybe, in my opinion, I believe those that didn't like the relationship will be more accepting about it, because it won't be so in your face, 24/7 in their minds. So So that's why I believe Sonic and Sally would be back together. I truly do. But really, that's just some of the Sonic stuff I have to get off my chest right now. And just in case you guys want to know, Sonic is still on Starz Kids and Family, which is a sub-channel of the Starz channels anyway. And it's on demand. I think it's still Monday through Friday. So check that out if you can, if you have Starz. And you have the Starz package, you have Starz Kids and Family. So that way, if you're new to the Sonic franchise, or you want to know why Sonic SatAM is so special and so endured by us longtime fans and even some newer fans, and why we look back on it with fond memories, watch the episodes on demand and whatever, and you'll see or as they air, and you'll see exactly why we look back on it with such fondness and enjoy it. So, but those are just these Sonic thing. Those are just the Sonic topics I have to get off my chest. Today for the second Sunday of 2017. Let me know what you guys think down below. Sorry this was in 2 parts, and I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.